Welcome back, CEDIA 2020. Moving on to our next demo, we are Modus VR. Thanks for joining us here in the virtual booth. For our next room, this is going to look a little familiar, but it's going to be a completely different version of a room that you've already seen before. So this room is similar dimensions to one that we previously built, but it's going to have a completely different look and feel. And the thing I really want to highlight here is that it's so easy to create completely different types of rooms from one shell of a room. So what we'll do is real quickly, I'll recap for those who have not seen this yet. Modus VR is a sales and design tool built in virtual reality to assist AV professionals in building, designing, and planning spaces for their clients. You can also use it for collaboration with other trades. We have some people who are actually working with consultants even. And because you can actually virtually be in the same space, it really lends itself to collaboration from distance, whether that be social distance or physical distance. We have some customers who get into VR and work with people across the world. And so it's a great tool for people and integrators to work together to plan out the ideas and concepts, maybe overcome some challenges of a room. And so what we're going to do real quickly here is we'll jump in, we'll show you start to finish how the process works in a new room. And this room will be a theater space. And so how do we get started in Modus? The first thing we need to do is create the space. So I've got a number of floor plans here. And the room we're going to be working on, I believe, is this one here, room 14. So I'll open this up. I'm going to go ahead and create a space, and we'll call this, this is actually going to be a theater by Artnovion. I'll go ahead and open this up. Now, in rooms like this, we could actually just go in here and put in the dimensions using the simple dimension tool, but I do want to show how this works if we had a reference image. The first thing I want to check is the height of the ceiling. So I'm showing we should have an 11-foot ceiling in here. You can adjust this at any time, and you can even adjust this in VR. But let's go ahead and pull up a reference image. I'm going to select the image from the folder right here, floor plans, and we're on 14. So here's the image. I just pulled that up from an Explorer browser, and you'll notice that we don't have any dimensions on this space. So one thing that you can do is you can find a thing like a doorway, and typically doorways are about 3 feet. So if you take this, and I've tried this before, I know it works, so you can take this little doorway here and just mark it out at 3 feet, and that'll allow us to quickly mark that as the reference point. Now, because I used the doorway as the reference, it actually rotated the floor plan, so I'm just going to rotate it back. I'm going to increase the transparency a bit so it comes through on the stream a bit better as well. And now that we're all happy with that, we'll just go back out here and we'll start adding some walls, and I'm going to just change the snapping to 1 inch here, 6-inch walls, 11-foot height, perfect. So at this point, you're able to start drawing walls, and it's really as simple as just clicking from each dot to the next and connecting the dots to make this room. Now you'll notice there's a little green ruler that pops up right there. That tells me that that line is in alignment with the adjacent wall. And there we go. So we've got a room. All of our corners are nice and square. Take a look here. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck the add button. And I'm just going to drag these on to where they should be. Now I know, because I've built this room in the past, that this should be 29 feet long by 23 feet wide. So we'll just see how close we got on that scaling. Pretty close, pretty close. Looks like we're off by just a tiny bit. So we can actually manually enter those dimensions too. If we knew the room was going to be 29 by 23, we can just go in here and say 29 feet, and it will automatically stretch the walls accordingly. And 23 wide. 23 wide. Perfect. Alright, so once we're happy with the dimensions of the room, and this looks like it's all to scale and appropriate, we can save the file, and then we send everything into VR. And so we have Scott and Ken from the team standing by in VR. Scott and Ken, can you guys hear me?
Yes, hey Patrick.
Hey guys. Alright, so I'm going to hand it off to you guys. Let's just pop into the VR view and see if we can see you guys. There we are. So go ahead and take it away. So from here on out, everything else is going to happen in VR, and this is where things start to really get interesting.
Alright, so I'm Ken in green.
And I'm Scott in red.
Previously we divided up the task here a little bit. Scott's going to be working on a lot of the architectural features, the riser here, the soffits. I'm going to be working on the acoustic treatment as well as some of the equipment in the room. We'll go ahead and get started.
So this room features mostly branded products. The only generic objects are going to be the things that are built around the room. I think everything else in here, with the exception of probably the projection screen and the front furniture, is all going to be branded. So we're using Artnovion acoustic panels and bass traps, which Ken's added in the corners here. And you'll notice that he's putting them at different heights. The nice thing about this is once he establishes the height that he wants to use as a reference, he can actually align all of those acoustic products around the room off of one predetermined height. So he'll actually adjust that later on down the road. And as you can see, Scott's actually going around here and popping in some soffits, some lights. So this should all come together really quick. And I meant to start a timer, so you guys are going to get another moderator penalty. So my mistake is your fault. Let me just fire up a timer again. You guys are supposed to remind me. Reset, go.
Great,
all right.
Great
so you get
team
a
attitude.
you get 60-second penalty. So as you can see, this is coming together really quickly, though. I mean, even if I penalized them 5 minutes, I bet they'll be done with this room in less than 10 minutes here. So Scott's just adding some light elements, and again, these are all generic. We have a few different styles, so you can see that we've got some nice square, more modern or European-looking fixtures, and Ken's just cranking right along with these acoustic panels. So as I'd mentioned, this is the same dimensions as a room we had done previously, but it has a very different look and feel because we're using a different manufacturer's products for the walls. So this has a very, very modern, almost, I would say, European, maybe like a sort of a posh look to it. And as we continue to decorate the room out, you'll see there's going to be some white couches, and it's just going to look really completely different than the previous theater, which was a lot more of the traditional style with the columns and the panels. And I think Ken's probably going to show some cool stuff. Are you planning on doing the projector thing as well here, Ken, when you get back there?
I'm going to do some cool stuff.
Some
like
cool stuff.
Thing.
The projector thing. That's code. That's code for do projector things. Right on. So Scott's adding in some doors, and this is one of my favorite features of this room. It's just this beautiful large Alps diffuser from Artnovion. This is available in a number of really glossy and fantastic colors. As you saw, so Scott just went from the red to the white. And this goes to show that, you know, building a theater like this doesn't have to be super complicated. You know, if you know the basic building blocks of how the room should come together, it's a matter of just a few minutes putting together some room elements, putting in the couch, little screen on the wall, and then Ken's just adjusting some colors, it looks like, and gosh, we're close to being done. So Scott's just going to put the finishing touches on, I think, and then
and we need some more lighting.
Some more lights,
ceiling.
yep, more lights. And
got to add some equipment to this room because right now there's nothing to paint light on that screen.
Right, there we go. And what projector is that, Ken?
That is the Barco Loki CinemaScope.
Okay, so we're going for a 235 screen?
Is a beast of a projector, and we're going to go for a 235 screen, yeah.
Beauty.
So I'm just kind of tossing it in here where I'd roughly like it, and that's one of the cool things about Modus. We have this projector placement system. I'm going to turn the projector for a moment so this will show up better for you. But basically, Modus will show you exactly how this projector will behave in the room. And so, for example, I can change out which lens we're even using. In fact, I'll keep it rotating.
I'll come around. Go ahead. You can put it on the screen.
Okay.
I'm slowly making my way there. There we go.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I can change the lens. This even shows the physical differences in the lenses, but the most important part is we get to see the performance difference. So, for example, if we had to do a really short throw lens on this projector, we could know exactly how
you're like within 10 feet.
That projector needs to go.
That's a massive throw.
But thankfully, we'll have this guy back here, and you know, typically we'd probably even have this in a projector closet, but for now we'll keep it in room, and we definitely don't need that short of a lens. But I think this feels about right. So next what I can do is I can start messing around with the vertical shift and the horizontal shift. Now the projector's centered in the room. The screen is now centered in the room. Let's get a little bit of content going up there just for kicks. You know, a lot of it's going to be washed out by our placement assistant here. And then I can just do a quick gut check and see, okay, well, can this projector get the picture as big as we want it? Let me switch the screen to 235. And basically what we're seeing, let me move the screen out of the way. We're basically seeing 3 color-coded areas. The bright blue is where the picture would be if we were doing a 16:9 source. The medium color blue is a 235. And then this stop sign shaped projection, that's basically showing anywhere that this picture could go at the current zoom level if we're using horizontal and vertical lens shift. So I'll bring this guy back up, and we're actually already really close. We don't need to get this perfectly dialed in. This is just to make sure that it's going to work in this space. And it looks like...
Yeah, you've got tons of room for shifting still.
Yeah, this projector gives us a lot of wiggle room. So we're in great shape there. I'm confident once we get the install team in place, they'll dial the rest in just fine. But that was super powerful because now we can actually see in the context how that projector is going to perform. Instead of having to just blindly enter numbers into a calculator online or something, we can see it. We can also catch other details, like perhaps if there's ceiling elements or something that might potentially get in the way, we can easily show those too. Now, one thing we didn't add in this room is speakers. We're going to assume that this is like all these speakers are in wall or something just for this particular case. But for fun, I'll toss in. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll do some. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Should we?
Let's do some origin.
Okay, I like that.
How does that sound?
That sounds delightful. Actually, these would be behind the screen, so I'll just plop one there.
Now, Ken, is there a way for you to intuitively place these speakers using some kind of a guide system?
Oh my goodness, Patrick. Is there ever?
Thanks for asking.
Yeah. So let's say we're going to do let's try a 914 system. So basically what this is it's another one of our design assistants. We already showed the projector placement assistant. This design assistant is showing us where we would lay out speakers for a 914 setup. And like all of our other design assistants, this is updated in real time. So as I move elements around the room, you'll see how that impacts the layout of things. So essentially anywhere that you see a blue or purple grid is a place where a speaker should go. And Scott's already putting some of those on the ceiling. I've already put 3 in the front here, but I'm going to go ahead and add some more along the side walls here. I did the 5500 in the front, but I'm going to do 3500s on the sides, and we can get this guy to nestle in right there.
Perfect fit.
Another one right there. It was.
I don't think we could have planned that any better, and we didn't actually plan that, so.
We did not.
Happy with that result.
Yeah, well, and that's the fun part about Modus is it's so flexible, it's so fast, it lets you kind of pull an audible in real time. And so, this is what we would call the design phase of Modus VR, where typically a client is not with you. That's where you're kind of figuring out the nuts and bolts of the room. But even then, when you're presenting to a client, you have all that same flexibility, that same speed, that same power, and you could take advantage of that and react in real time to client questions, comments, concerns, you name it. And so the end result, though, is you feel more free to try creative solutions to complex problems because the cost of change is so low. You can just quickly say, well, hey, what if we move this around? What if we tried that? What if we reoriented the room? And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but there's no fear, right? There's no loss of time, no loss of margin, and so you're really free to explore stuff. So it looks like we're done here. What was our final count on the room time?
Oh, I think we've been done for a second, but you're at 7.5 minutes plus the 1 minute moderator penalty.
Okay.
So we'll call it 8.5 minutes for
Not too
2 people
shabby.
to build out a room to this level of detail with this much cool stuff in it. And I mean, if we just start adding up the dollars of upsell that were available here, I mean, well, we're talking about a $50,000 projector, and this is not a cheap piece of gear here. But let's just take that out of the equation for a minute. Let's just look at the acoustic treatments, the speakers. So maybe this is a situation where your customer was talking about buying a 5.1. Heaven forbids they don't go with Atmos. And just by showing them that it's possible to get more speakers in the space, you're immediately adding value to the project, right, Ken?
Yeah, exactly. And really the goal of Modus is to get you to presentation quality results as quickly as possible. And so once you're presenting, in an ideal world, you'd have the client in VR with you. Modus definitely supports that. They can be in VR, they're wearing a headset, they're getting a feel for the space. There's lots of other options too, like what we're doing right now, where we're live streaming. But the real thing is, once a client can see what's happening, what they're going to get, that's when they're finally informed to start asking questions. They're no longer bound by their ability to imagine things. So just as a quick example, let's say we showed this to the client, the husband loved the red, the wife was kind of put off by it. And so I've selected all these, and we can say, you know what, well, here, look, we could do something a little bit more subdued, something a little simpler, something more natural like wood. Making these changes is fast, easy.
Right.
And again, we can quickly brainstorm. We could easily swap these out with an entirely different model as well.
Well, and that's the great thing
back through them.
about being able to do this all in VR too, is especially with things like acoustic treatments, it's not really possible, even if you have the biggest, most elaborate showroom in the world, it's not really possible to show every shape, size, and color of these products. So this is a way you can. I mean, you don't have to have a swatch book full of 10,000 different fabrics. You can do it all in Modus.
Exactly. And so you basically have your own virtual showroom where you can show projects of any budget, right? You could even show, if you're a newer integrator, you haven't done many big jobs, you can still show, hey, look, we are capable of doing a 6-figure theater. Let me just pull it up and show you. And really, that alone is going to help overcome a lot of concerns for a client. And so I mentioned some of the deliverables. Presenting in VR is ideal. Streaming a presentation also works really well. But there's even other cases where you just need to be able to send something out that a client can look at on any device or over email, or that they could post on social media. And that's where a lot of the functionality of Modus Photo comes into play. So Patrick, I'm going to turn it back to you so you can walk everyone through that, as well as generating some line drawings.
Perfect. So to get that, we save the file, which we've just done. Now I'm going to go back to our launcher software. So here you can see the file's been saved, and we have a little thumbnail of the room that we were just in. Actually, there's Ken right there in VR. So we can come back in here, and I left the VR session open, but we don't need that anymore because we're beyond that at this point. So let's go here, and we've got our edit floor plan. The one that I want to start with is line drawings. So getting consumable, presentable results is immediate. As soon as I click Create Line Drawings, it actually automatically generates both a floor plan and a reflected ceiling plan. So I've got both of these guys over here. I can also add additional views. So in this particular room, let's just go ahead and capture all 4 of the outside walls. So we're going to want to do screen, wall, elevation. And I'm going to go ahead and just snap that. And if you look over here, there's some tips and tricks that'll show you what I'm doing here. But if I hold the control button while I point at a wall, you'll see that it's automatically snapping my view to that entire wall space, which is fantastic. So as Ken mentioned, we want this to give you professional quality results instantaneously. So we don't want you to have to fiddle around with, oh, is this perfectly on that wall? By just holding control, it automatically snaps to that wall. Now, another shortcut we can do is I can actually hold the Alt key as I'm doing this, and I can actually come in here and replicate that camera, duplicate it, and then I can actually snap another camera to that back wall. And from that point, I'm actually going to bring this out a little bit farther. I'm going to try and capture the projector and the seating in this view. So here we go. Now you can see in the preview I've got my projector in the frame. I've also got all the seating, the bars all showing, and this is just going to give you some extra nice additional details. And maybe we want to actually show one that doesn't actually capture all that as well. So let's come in and we'll get a zoomed in version that's just going to show the acoustic treatment, because obviously the acoustic treatment extends below this bar area, and when our installers are going to do the installation, or maybe you're going to hand this off to a general contractor to do the actual installation of the acoustic panels, because I'll tell you what, I don't like gluing stuff to walls. It's a miserable job, but someone's got to do it, right? So you can hand this off to a general contractor who is probably better equipped to handle the glue and everything else. And I'll show you what we can do here is we can come in here and we can just annotate this for our GC. So let's just go ahead and go from the soffit down. We're at 1.9, and I think this is pretty well centered. 1.914, and then from the doorways we've got 2.5. 2.5, perfect. So it's pretty well centered. It's a little high off center, and that was intentional because of the area we were trying to line it up with. We also have our bass trap showing in this view. Let me just get rid of the tips and tricks here. So real quickly, you can see the power of this. So one of the things that is probably important is how high is that projector mount? What kind of post are we going to need to get that down as low as we have it mounted? Another one that you may want to show is actually the throw distance from the projector all the way up to the screen wall. So 22.9 was our throw. And obviously this is really powerful for installation, for general contractors. The downside of this is that it's not that pretty to send off with your customers. So I'll show you in a moment what we can do to really impress your customers and get them feeling extremely good about the purchase they're making. We can also annotate this with some notes and just say these are origin, marquee, in-wall, marquee in-wall speakers. And so we can just quickly create some nice little annotations here that tells exactly what all these things are. And you can do as much or as little of this as you'd like. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. Whatever you need for your team and for your client is really what's important. Artnovion Red Theater. Alright, so we named the project. and you'll see it comes down here. So this is the footer preview for the final document. You can also go in here and change the name of the company. So we'll just change this to Modus VR, put our website in here. And you can also change your logo, change your format of the actual print size. So once you're done with the settings, it tells you how many pages you're going to end up with. You just click Generate Drawings. And this is going to go ahead and pop this into a PDF. And I'll jump over here to Acrobat so you can see the final results. So this gives you a nice polished dimensional sets of drawings with your logo, the company name, all the information down here. So it's a really nice presentable package of detailed drawings that you can send off with your customer. So here's the throw distance for the projector that we lined out, the in-wall speaker format and layout, the rear wall, and obviously there's the rear wall cut section without the projector and chairs. And so this allows you to show, if this is your general contractor taking this to do the install, you say, yep, we're going to go 1.9 down. Just nice completed documents. So again, it's not the prettiest thing in the world for someone to take and show off, but it's really, really important documentation, and we make it so quick and easy. I mean, we are 20 minutes into the demo and we're already 90% of the way done. So now let's just take this to the next and final step, which is going to be Modus Photo. And so what Modus Photo is, I'm just going to save this and go back in our launcher. Modus Photo is right here on the right side. You'll see my little hand hovering over it. Modus Photo is a complementary app to Modus VR. And what it does, as soon as we're done loading up here, I'll just push the button. And there we go. So this is going to look a lot like the view that you had seen previously, but you'll notice immediately that the lighting is a slight bit different. Because this doesn't happen in VR, we're able to really increase the performance of the experience by tweaking the lighting a little bit and giving you a lot more control over creating an ambience that really can come in. And you can certainly do things like you can dim down all the lights and just highlight the acoustics, bring these up. If you had shades in the room, you can lower them there. I have a really bad habit of just clicking that all the time. But you can see we can fine-tune these spotlights all throughout the room. Take a quick look around. I'm going to actually bring this up for our first screenshot so you get a nice, good look of the room. And we're just going to grab a shot from this angle here. We can also throw some content back on the screen. So we'll go ahead and go with the Top Gun trailer. So just find a nice scene that we really like. There's some pretty cool ones in here. And I'm really hoping this movie comes out soon-ish, but we're really all waiting for it, because who doesn't love a Top Gun volleyball scene? There we go. So grab that, Maverick going inverted in the F-14, or actually that's an F-18, I think. You just hit enter, and that's going to grab a capture of that particular screen. You'll see down in the bottom left corner there is a little thumbnail of the image we just captured. I'll grab one of the projector, and I think that this piece of diffusion on the back wall from Artnovion is also an incredibly important piece of the room. So I'm just going to grab an angle of it that I really think highlights it and the projector. Let me get in here. Can mess with the zoom a bit too, so we can zoom in. And I think I'm going to adjust the lighting just a bit to really kind of highlight that thing. So we'll bring the ambient lighting down a bit and maybe lower these, or maybe bring these ceiling lights up a little bit. Grab something like that. So, alright, so a couple nice quick renders. The beauty of doing this and the speed in which we were able to do that, we're 25 minutes, less than 25 minutes into the demo, and once we finish the VR portion, we're able to get this content so quickly. And this is something that typically is done by either a third-party service, or maybe you have someone on staff that does your SketchUp, or maybe you're using Revit. But if you have someone in staff that can do this, there's still a cost to do it, and the cost to change something is even more dramatic. So if we wanted to change something, we just pop back into VR. Maybe we need to change colors or something. Come back out, and you'll see it's less than a 5-minute process, as Ken showed. Maybe we want to just change these from red to a darker or more wood tone. But the ability to do this quickly saves you money in creating professional grade, high resolution renders of the room in just such an immediate fashion. The other amazing feature that we're showing at CEDIA right now, and we'll have this hopefully ready for our public release very soon, is Modus 360. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to the middle of the room here, and I'm going to find a nice position. There's also some hotkeys. I'll show you this real quickly. This is going to feel like we're jumping around a whole lot, but let me zoom out so it's not so dramatic, I guess. What it's going to actually do is, as I hit these keys, it's actually cycling me through all the different seats in the room. And so I can use that feature to actually get right to this middle seat, and maybe that's the one that's most important to the customer. So then we can just go back in here, and these zoom settings actually don't matter, but I want to just make sure I'm high enough up off the chair to capture as much as possible. Alright, so take a quick peek around, look around the room. Now that we've got a nice view, I'm going to hit Control and Enter, and you'll see it's going to pop up this Generating Modus 360. So what that actually does, go back to our launcher here, that's actually going to give me a 360-degree panoramic view of the room that's consumable by any type of web browser. So it's going to create this link. Let's see here. So over here on the online, if I click this, you'll see the little thumbnail of it, and I'll actually post this right into chat, so if you want to take a peek, you can go right there. We'll also post all these to the deliverables tab in the CEDIA page, and these are available. Basically, you can send this in an email, text message. It can be consumed in any type of web browser, so it can be pulled up on a phone, mobile device, whatever have you, immediately by your customer. So we finish up the demo, you take the 360, you email or text off the image, and now they can take that, and that's really the piece that they can show to their friends and family before anything gets done, because the tangibles that they can take home and be excited about will really help close the deal for you. So we've showed you very quickly in under 30 minutes how to design, create, present, and sell a system in Modus VR. We'll be here for another 2 more demos, it looks like. So we've got one coming up at about 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, and is that right? No, 3 o'clock p.m. I think we got one more demo on the schedule. Ken, can you maybe give me some clarity on that one? Nope, Ken's no here anymore. I think we've got one or two more demos. Oh, Scott's saying 2 more demos. All right, so 2 more demos on the docket. We'll probably do a few more different types of rooms. You can also just go back in the stream video and watch some of the older demos and see the content. We've got a lot of great stuff out there, so stop back in here in about 30 minutes and we'll have the next demo going. Thanks for joining us at CEDIA 2020. We are Modus VR. We appreciate your time and hope you have a good rest of your afternoon. Take care.